Hey, good evening, everyone. This is Cassie from Spread Art. I wish I could be there live with you this evening at the Balboa Yacht Club, but I am traveling to cheer on my beloved Arkansas Razorback basketball team. So I will just have to give you a quick video of some of the products that we have here available for your purchase at PanamaArt.com. We have, as you know, your source for all Al Sprague artwork, may it be originals or reproductions or merchandise. PanamaArt.com is your place to purchase these items. Tonight I want to share with you just a new way in which you can get your reproductions. These are wood reproductions. They have been printed directly on wood. I printed this for my son, Braden, as he travels to the Caribbean for his boat. So they're perfect for a wet area or a humid area or a small space. You can actually get them printed in any size, but as you can see, they're not very wide and they come already to be put directly onto the wall wherever you would like to show them. So you can get any of our reproductions printed in this medium, so keep that in mind. In addition to our reproductions on wood, we have just a limited amount of these matted prints available for sale on our website. What we don't sell of what we have on our website, we will take to the reunion in Panama in January. So keep an eye out, look at those while you're on our site as well. Our best seller this Christmas has got to be our calendars, our wall calendars. This one here is our Panama Canal 2025 wall calendar. As you can see, it's pretty big, and it comes with a hole right here at the top, and it's got a nice spiral here that you can hang this and enjoy Al Sprague art throughout the year. They make perfect gifts for somebody that you love that has lived in Panama or loves Al Sprague artwork. The great thing about these is that they're 13 months. So you don't have to worry. It goes from January to throughout the next January. So get those on our website. They're $25. So speaking of the reunion down in Panama, we will be selling as an official vendor on Friday and Saturday at the Canal Zone Reunion in Panama. We will be there from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Friday and Saturday. We will be selling again this year our bundles, our merchandise bundles. But this year, you will be able to pick and choose which theme you want of a towel, a tumbler, and a bag. We did this at the reunion in Orlando, and it was a great success. So we decided we were going to do it again this year at the Panama reunion as well. So this is a sample of the bags. As you can see, they're great to have to take to the beach or to the pool, or use them as gift bags or grocery bags. You can buy these online individually as well, but the bundles are only available at the reunion. Lastly, I wanted to share with you our book. This book is about my dad, and it is a hardback coffee table book, and it's about over 150 pages of his bio, a bunch of his artwork, all in color. And what is really cool about it is we incorporated a little bit of his journal entries as well as reflections by collectors and family and friends. If you're interested in this book, it's $50 on our website, PanamaArt.com. I will leave you with a quick video of a fashion show, I guess per se, of this beautiful kimono that I have and we've been selling. We have several different designs, and we will have them available at the reunion as well. But they are available on our website. So if you are interested, again, PanamaArt.com. And just because you guys are great supporters of Al Sprague, we are extending a special discount that is for our happy hour friends. So the code that you would put in is Happy Hour 20, and it will give you 20% off of the total price of your cart. So again, I wish I could be there live. Thank you and have a great night. Go Hawks.
Okay, folks, here we go.
Guys, here we go. Let's have a good show.
1B, stand by. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah, take it and just go right now. Go to camera 3. 3, go to the gate. Perfect, just like that.
I'll just go ahead.
Yeah, graphics 2 is going to be up for the first. Okay. Go right now. Go to camera 3. Go, yep. Go to the gate. Perfect, just like that. No music.
I'm going to hand to Q, Sophie.
Wait for it.
On radio in the Canal Zone.
All right, guys, mic check.
Go ready.
Okay, Ricky, mic.
Yep, I am ready.
Wait for it.
Willie, mic check.
Yep, let's go.
1B, stand by.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're live.
Okay, and go for it, guys.
All right, here we go. It's December 13th. It's the halfway point of the month of December. So we are at the tail end of the year now. But nonetheless, it is still Friday night, 8 p.m. Happy hour at the Balboa Yacht Club. And here, as always, with my cohort, Ricky Royer. What's going on, Ricky?
Straight out of San Francisco, my friend, on your West Coast studios. Yes, Friday the 13th. All you spooky people out there, tonight's your night. Go watch some good, scary movies. But nonetheless, everybody, thank you from the bottom of our hearts for starting your weekend with us. Happy hour at the Balboa Yacht Club. And for that, we'll do our first toast of the evening. Thank you, everybody, once again.
Absolutely.
It's been a long.
Yeah, this was a tough week, man. I'm glad.
46. It was a tough week for sure. 46th episode of our show. And we are very happy to always be with you. Willie and I, both born and raised in the Canal Zone. You know, our parents, same thing. We're both card-carrying members, which reminds me, Willie, the due date for the membership, guys, is 1/31/25. And I'm going to talk about later why that's a good thing to be registered by then. So we are also bringing you guys the latest every week of the Zonian community. From our reunions to our luncheons, our picnics, our very favorite, our birthdays, golf tournaments, you know, just all the latest on the Zonian community, both in the United States and Panama. And one of the newest things we like to bring to you is our restaurant recommendations. But anyways, everybody, thank you for being with us. But most important, before we go on to our second toast, this is the place to come and enjoy a little Zonian company, a little Zonian banter, you know, a place where you can engage with us and comment and back and forth, and you can and engage with other Zonians that join us, you know, and just come have a great time. You know, there's a place to have a toast, and at the end of the day, it's a great time to spend with us Zonians, and happy birthday to everybody we're going to mention later on tonight.
Yeah, quite a few.
And happy hour and our second toast.
Yes, salute. And we will toast. And here I am, of course, at the Balboa Trading Company and Ruthie MacArthur's awesome tumbler here with some Mola stuff on it.
Well, yeah, Willie, that one just kept going and going. I was looking for a way to pause. Sorry, man. I just kept going and going.
Run out of fuel here. Holy cow.
But you know what? It's just a good feeling always to welcome everybody to our show, you know.
It is.
45, 46 shows. You know,
It's fun. I mean,
is,
it's it becomes something now that we want to just say hello to people on Friday night, and
yeah,
you know,
it really is.
Most of us at this point in our lives, we're not going out and hanging out and partying that much on a Friday night. So it's kind of fun. It's cool to sit back and maybe sit on your couch on the big TV and watch. And if you want to participate, just grab your phone and you can chat on your phone as well. Either way, but both on Facebook and YouTube, you can throw your chats in to say hello. We love to say hello to everybody and have you guys join us on the show as well. So, but nonetheless, it is midweek, or mid-month actually, and I guess we're almost T-minus 12 days for Christmas, and then the New Year right around the corner. Which, by the way, Ricky and I have been thinking about what to do for New Year's and maybe do a New Year's get together. I think it might be fun. So we'll see. More to come on that. Next year's around the corner. I got off the line earlier today with a couple of people, John Hanna and Eric Petroni. Are helping me put together a group so that we can have that surfing show we've been talking about. These guys are some OG surfers there from both the Atlantic and Pacific side with an amazing history of surfing. So I'm excited to build that one up and get that going early next year. Also talked to, I'm drawing a blank right now on his name, from the Panama Railroad History channel on Instagram. You've seen that one. He is.
I saw that back and
great
forth.
Guy.
Yes.
I'll tell you right now who it is. Nordier Garcia is his name, and him and hopefully Tommy Morris, who I was corresponding to earlier in the year, will join us. The 28th of January is the anniversary of the Panama Railroad. So 31st of January is a Friday. So that would be a great time to have that show and maybe see some of the folks that are just coming back from the Canal Zone reunion, which would be the weekend before that, and their trip on the Panama Canal Road, and then learn some history of it. Maybe we can even get Eddie Dolan on and talk about his grandfather and what he used to do on Sundays, because on one of the issues of the spillway, there's a picture of Eddie Dolan wearing a conductor's outfit and everything when he was much younger, even before Rams days. And he would go on, like on Sundays, he'd do the run with his grandfather, who was one of the conductors. So that's a cool little zone.
Yeah, to get the tickets, check on everybody's tickets.
Yeah, you gotta exactly. So
Willie,
so that'll be a really cool show. Panama Railroad is the OG railroad, as Ricky likes to say. It's the OG transcontinental railroad. It's the first one that linked the Atlantic and Pacific, way before the one up in the U.S. It was done then. So that was the first U.S. involvement in uniting the two oceans. A little bit slower of a mechanism, but it obviously preceded what would come
brought
later
the
on.
gold rush, brought a lot of wealth to the western part of the United States.
Absolutely. And at that time, it was the most feasible thing, as we know. Obviously, even 30 years later, the French tried and couldn't do it, and then, of course, we got in there and finally did it. But even that, when you think about things like Culebra Cut. When I've been reading about that and researching that, it took almost 10 years just to excavate that 10-mile, 9-mile strip. That's
and
incredible.
90% of the French budget went on that, just to get it down, like, I forget how many feet, but yeah, that was a big undertaking. It still is. Still today, they're still working on that.
Without a doubt. They always will be,
They always will be.
And it's funny, the other day I saw an article somewhere, I can't remember where it was, and somebody was mentioning, talking about, I think it's Mexico now is looking at building a canal.
A railroad.
Well, in addition to the railroad, apparently they're looking at doing something because there's another narrow strip over there. And they're talking about an investment of, or maybe it was going back to Nicaragua, but one of them, they're talking about an investment of like $40 or $45 billion to build it.
Yeah, that's Nicaragua, $46 billion. Yes, that's what
so
I'm
what
saying.
Panama is saying is like, go ahead, because we know that we can spend about $5 to $6 billion and build a third set of locks now, and we'll trump anything you have, and we'll do it much sooner, much cheaper. So I think at this point it's a safe bet that if any company wants to invest to build or get into the canal business, their best bet is to go through Panama as opposed to try and do something on their own with another country. It's just the amount is just going to be way, way too high compared to what Panama has, which is really 90% done. If you want to add a third wider locks, you're going to do just one there in Panama. You already have the channel, you have the lake and everything. You're really only excavating a short area there. So it's
correct.
it's
I don't even
but-
think you have to add another channel. I mean, you just got to add actually it's a fourth set of locks because the first one are 2 and then 3 with the
Correct.
second
In other words,
canal.
a third phase, I guess, of the lock system.
Yeah, third
But,
phase,
you know,
fourth set of.
and even when Panama built this second set there, that one bypasses Pedro Miguel and Miraflores, but then it uses the rest of Culebra Cut, and the same
Correct.
thing with Gatun. It bypasses Gatun, but it uses the entire lake. So, good 70-80% of that canal is already there, and it's used regardless of how many sets of locks you add to it.
Correct. So,
So,
it's
in
a
that sense,
no
it's a
go.
huge
I mean,
advantage.
yeah. Anybody that knows how to anything about business, there just isn't a bank
Correct.
out there
Yeah, you're going
or
to
a
pull your
country
money out of
that's
there and
going
say,
to
no,
do.
you know what, I'll invest it in Panama instead.
Correct.
Cut the money in half. So
Everybody
but it
out
was
there
just
that's
an
worried
interesting
about
thing to think
that,
about.
just don't worry anymore. It's
Yeah,
not
exactly.
even worth the time to worry about that.
But nonetheless, that goes back to again what we're talking about here initially, which was that Panama Railroad show. So January we got 2 exciting shows in the works: the surfing show, the Panama Railroad show, and then we're getting into dry season. So we know what comes in dry season. Of course, there's carnival, there's Cayuco race, baseball season. So there's a lot of fun things that we're going to start touching on here. I know Ricky's been chomping at the bit for 7 months now to do some baseball and I've always been
And bringing
hesitant.
some
I said
good
I want to
guys,
follow
yeah.
the Panama Canal Zone schedule, not the U.S. schedule. So it, even though baseball here in the States and the Major League Baseball was front and center, but in Panama, our baseball was in a dry season. It was
Dry
January,
season, yeah.
February
But
to
that-
March or April. So
Yeah, the older guys, they all played in the American Legion, and that was big. That's why I want to bring in Larry Cicero,
Yeah.
all those older guys that
Absolutely.
that we've had before on football that played baseball down there. John Hughes, those guys have
and
great
baseball was so
history.
much bigger. There was a
Charlie
lot more
Thrush.
baseball going on, and there was even
Oh,
a lot
yeah.
more involvement with the military in Panama as well. And then those friendship
And
series in
Central
Pony League.
America, because
Correct.
Yeah, and Central America. I mean, they used to
Correct.
play in Nicaragua and these other
Yeah.
places.
Yeah, so baseball should be a
So,
fun
yes.
show to go back to. Go back to our days at the Macaws, and I played for police. I played for Glidden one year. My dad
Fastridge.
coached. They didn't have a coach in farm league one year, and so they asked my dad to do it, and so he took over Glidden, and
You
so
were
I
Glidden
played
as
one
well,
year.
so was I. We both played for Glidden
funny.
and McCaws.
That's funny, very similar pathways,
Yeah,
But
yeah, I played on the
so that-
championship team for Glidden.
Oh no, our team was not a championship team. But you know what? My dad was. My
were,
dad
we
was
were.
somebody that was. Let's let people play ball that don't get a shot. Right. I remember one kid came out to play. I think it was Paul Wright. God bless him. Rest in peace.
Oh, I remember Paul Wright very well. He's a neighbor of mine. Good football player,
Yeah,
though.
He was big guy.
Eventually.
Rock. Yeah. He served
Yeah, he was yeah.
several tours in the military and whatnot. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us either. But Paul Wright
Paul's
came
not
out
with
to
us?
join us. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, he was one of those that suffered from PTSD. It's one of those things. Always make yourself available to a Zonian friend. They're always out there, and some of them are going through some tough times. So sometimes when you don't hear from somebody, reach out, just say hello. See how they're doing, and
Yeah, for
and
sure.
whatnot. But nonetheless,
Yeah, he went to St. Mary's.
he did. Paul and I grew up
Yeah,
together. We
yeah.
went to nursery school together, to St. Mary's, and then Corundu BHS and whatnot. And his dad and my dad were good friends. They flew model airplanes together. So, when they were
Oh, right on.
in that model airplane stuff, Paul and I used to always hang out. But
Yep.
he showed up for practice when my dad took over the Glidden team, and his glove, in all honesty, I think it was made of plastic. It was just one of those things. Wasn't a baseball player. I had Kenny Manderville, quite a few kids. Tom Frost was on my team, but we were for sure the Bad News Bears without the championship at the end. But everything else about it was, it was rough, man. I played catcher, and I chased many a wild pitch. Most of those games when I got done, I was tired, man. It was rough.
You were running after balls. You were running after
Yeah,
chasing
then I went-
balls.
Right. Then I went back to police. So I played for police prior to that.
Yeah,
It's funny. My brother,
They're always competitive.
my brother and I played for police at the same time. He was a year older, so obviously we would stagger a little bit. But we were warming up one day, and I was out in left field shagging fly balls, and my brother's batting practice. My brother's up to bat, and he cracks one way up there, and I'm backing up to catch it, and next thing you know, it goes right before I was going to catch it. It goes right in front of the sun, and next thing you know, I can't see anything. Pero como ahuevao, instead of putting my head down, I'm looking like that. Boom, right in the eye, that ball hit me.
Right
I
in
was
the
in the
eye.
hospital with my eyes in patches for almost a week and a half. I was in the hospital.
How many times is that now? Football, you had a similar
I
incident?
tell you, man, my records at Gorgas were like a book, man. You had to put that in
You
chapters,
and I both.
man. It was so much, man. But that was baseball. Baseball was always a fun sport. That was just a good time, you know. Sometimes there was times, for example, even in Fastlich, I remember going and sitting, doing the scoreboard. Remember, the home team had to do the scoreboard, you know, and so they'd always send somebody, if you're on the bench that game, you go and sit there. And that was cool because you'd mess with the players from the other team in the outfield and stuff, you know. It was just something to do, man.
That's right. The whole team had to send somebody out. to beat the
Yeah, and
score.
you would
That
sit
is
on that thing
correct.
because they
I
had the
remember
long
that.
bench, and you just get up at the end of the inning and put the number, the 0, 1, 2, or whatever, and
Yeah.
you know, and then all of a sudden somebody comes running out. You're like, oh, cool, I get to play. You jump off that and run around to the corner to get back to the dugout.
Those are normally the 13-year-olds that got that job.
Exactly.
Oye, Gordo, entonces, what do we have for tonight?
Well, you know, it is another solo show, so it's just you and I. First of all, let's say hello to some of our friends out there.
Yeah, let's see some of
Marcelino
our friends who's
Nunez,
out there.
Army
Wow, we got a
Television.
lot of people on.
Awesome. Look at this guy, Marcelino. Good to have you on, man. Listen, Marcelino, I'm curious about something. If you're still on listening, because I knew you chimed in a few minutes ago, but I'm looking for any footage, anything you have or anybody might have of the old Que Pasa segment that they would have in weeknights. You know, I think it was like Tuesday, Wednesday nights. So it was a very short segment, like 15 minutes, but I did find footage of one on an old documentary. It was black and white, though, so it was early 70s. But as soon as I played it, I heard that song, which, by the way, trivia, and I don't know if you guys can Google it fast enough, but who knows what the name of the song was that played on this show, Que Pasa, on SCN? Because I looked at it, I found out who it was, and I actually played the song, and I was like, "Oh, look at this, man! This
You
is
mean
cool."
like a recording artist, or?
It was a band. It was a band because that was back then. That was musical stuff, obviously, right? But let me see if I can find it again, because I'm gonna play this and see if you'll recognize this music. Watch, I guarantee you will. Hold on.
I don't know that Que Pasa was around in the early 80s and late 70s when I was.
Oh, it was. It was on.
Roaming around
It was
the
on like
Canal Zone.
Tuesday and Wednesday night. It was like a 15 or 20 minute show. It was really poor. I mean, it was a bad. Certainly wasn't anything engaging. It was rather bland, but it was nonetheless. It was part of the scene, you know. And it was Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass. You ever heard of them?
Oh yeah. My dad liked
Yeah,
those
there
guys.
you
Yeah,
go.
I remember that one song, real popular song.
Well, their song was the theme song to Watch. I'm gonna play this, and you're gonna
Oh
see.
yeah,
my God, I
that was
can't
my
believe
dad. I
this.
remember my dad had that album.
Okay, so, all right, here we go. All right, let me back it up. Let me share that screen. And turn on sound. Yep, we got the sound. All right, here we go. Ready? See if you recognize this too. Can you hear it? Oh, wait. Now listen. Does that not sound familiar?
I would say it's not the obvious guy that we just mentioned. I would say Chuck Mangione.
I don't know who that is, but this is who
He's the trumpet
it's called
player.
The Happening. I do have a film clip. Let me see if I can find it, because I do have a film clip of that Que Pasa show. Hold on. Anyway,
Otherwise,
we'll
it's
find
that
it
guy
later.
Trinidad or Tito or whatever that you had mentioned earlier.
Yeah, that too. But anyhow, so if Marcelino, if you're still on and you hear that, let me know. That
Hey,
would be really
Sheila.
cool. I reached out to Frank Pereira also to see if he could find something. He said that show was off the air when he came on, but that he would reach out to his circle of friends and see if they had it. So, hey Sheila, how are you? Good to see you again. I hear back. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's on, Ricky, that might be on your end. I don't know if, because I can hear it as well.
Oh,
I'm hearing that
okay,
echo.
I know how to fix that. Let me fix that real quick, guys.
Thank you, Sheila. Lori Hunt. Yep, you remember that. That's K-Pasa, right? Hopefully that's what you're talking about. But yeah, I did find a clip of an old K-Pasa episode. And like I said, it wasn't anything that you're like, wow, that's riveting TV. Okay, that sounds good. I don't hear it now. Uh-oh, and he just froze. So there we go. So we're flying solo again now. But nonetheless, that was kind of cool. Going back to that, so I'm hoping that we can get something thrown together. I've been talking to Thane Wheeler, who's doing that Canal Zone documentary, and we're trying to work and collaborate to build a Canal Zone community. You know, one of the things that we find is that, yep, right on, Lori, cool. The Canal Zone community is very splintered. Right? You know, Facebook is certainly probably one of the better sources for Canal Zone. But even in Facebook, I mean, heck, just Zonian Facebook pages, gosh, there's probably a dozen, right? And so, you know, sometimes you're on one or on the other, and it becomes kind of a pain in the ass to have to post to each one of them. And of course, every military base has their own page for obvious reasons. But we want to try and build a community, the one, you know, kind of a central place where we can, everybody can gather, and even within your different groups, like the military groups and whatnot, but still have that one common ground. And so that's something we're going to work on as one of our projects for 2025 with Thane Wheeler. And we're hoping to get Alex Reyes involved as well. And so, you know, our show and these guys and what they do all come together and form that one central community. So that should be a lot of fun. And hope that'll bring us closer, because right now we rely on pretty much Facebook to market and get people out there, but there's a lot of Zonians that aren't on social media and that are on Facebook, you know, and we want to get them all to join us as well and be part of this fun community. So, but hey, Frank, how you doing? Good to see you.
Good to see you, Frank. And a lot of those guys are on this. Watch this show, Willie. You know, after we saw our demographics, you know, we do get the silver crowd. Yeah, quite a few of them. So we like to inform all of them.
Yep, for sure. And that's what makes the show exciting. And again, it is part of just keeping that memory going, keeping the story of the Canal Zone alive, and going back to all those things. You know, going back to that song, when I was listening to that the other day and saw that episode, that in itself brought back memories, because obviously when that was on the air, I was way too young to actually watch it and pay attention. Heck, I don't think as an adult I would have paid attention, in all honesty. But you heard it in the background, right? You're playing on the floor with your cars or your toys or whatever, and that stuff's playing in the background, and you hear it every time, and it just becomes part of the environment. Yeah, and so all of a sudden it starts playing again, and you know, my wife was watching me play that song, and she's thinking, really? You're enjoying Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass?
Herb Alpert, that's who that was.
Yeah, that's who that is, man. But, you know, and I'm listening to it, and I'm all jamming and stuff, and she's like, really? I was like, you don't understand. This just took me back to about 6 years old, playing on the floor with my Hot Wheels or something, and listening to that stuff in the background, man. Are you kidding me? That's definitely Zonian history there for sure, man. But anyway, on we go with the show. The show must go on, right?
The show must go on.
So one of the things that we like to do here is a segment where we talk about a bunch of different things in Panama going on here and there, because although most of us are up here in the States, there's still a lot of us down in Panama, and Panama still, the Canal Zone may not be there, but Panama's still a big part of our lives and everything. So we love to talk about all those ongoing things, and something that back in the day in Panama, and what is that term? In English, it's gossip, right? Is I guess what you could call it, right? So, you know, initially when we were doing this, Ricky's like, hey, you know, I got some more bochinche. And little by little, it's kind of was like, okay, well, I guess that's the segment.
That's the name of the segment. Yeah, that's exactly how it was. Yeah.
And so now of course, we've got our tune for it and everything. So, you know, why not? Let's enjoy that bochinche music here. Here you go, man.
Yeah. It's a good one. It's a good one.
El bochinche. 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 El bochinche.
There you go, boom, there's your bochinche show. That is actually a cool tune. I do remember that tune back in the day. It was that was kind of a happening tune because that is something they
Like
do.
Bush
They
y su
gossip all
nuevo
the time, man.
sonido. Is that Bush? Is that Bush
Yeah.
y su nuevo
Yes.
sonido? Oh, no
Remember
way.
that?
No, that was my guess. They actually had that great song, Tu me hiciste brujería.
Brujeria,
Yeah.
bruja. Yeah, right on.
Yeah, that's a great
I love
song.
that.
Right on, man. Well, listen, guys, today's Bochinche really is a lot about our new president, Carl Orvis. That's president for the
on.
Panama Canal Society. He, if you guys know, we recently had a big luncheon in Tampa.
Yep.
And he was there. But before we jump in there, Carl had a good message. And I want to address Carl because he's already stepped in. He's already making big changes, saving us money, the Canal Society money. And one of the things he has brought on are 2 new added bonuses for all you guys that are going to be registered, with the Canal Society and have hotel reservations. If you can turn that in by February 6th, guys, there's going to be an early bird drawing
Nice.
for some big dollar prices. Okay, so that's one of the added bonuses that Carl's brought. But you got to be a registered member, and B, going to the reunion and have your hotel reservation. The early bird drawing, guys, is going to be a big price. What they're going to have is a 2-night, obviously 3-day stay at the reunion, all paid for. So that's a great return on investment for those $50. Because, guys, if you are the early bird, your odds are spectacular to win that prize. Now, that drawing, Willie, is going to be held at one of the Panama Canal Society's luncheon, which is in February 22nd. The event is going to be called the Space Coast Potluck. And, of course, it's being held over there by Grimsonlandia, that area of Florida, a.k.a. known as the Space Coast, Cape Canaveral. The potluck, again, it's going to be on the 22nd. But for all of you guys going down there, there's going to be a meet and greet on the 21st. So everybody can hang out before the big luncheon the next day. Okay, so on the 21st, they're going to be meeting at a place called a Timeout Sports Bar. So go there, happy hour, say hi to everybody. At the historic Cocoa Village. I hope I said that right. C-O-C-O-A.
Cocoa Village.
Cocoa Village. So the
Cocoa
A
Village,
silent.
Cocoa Beach.
Oh, the A silent then. All right, cool. Yeah. Guys, so once you go to the meet and greet, the good thing is, a little bit later, there's going to be a Beatle tribute band playing right next door. So that's going to be a lot of fun for all you guys attending that Space Coast potluck. And that Beatles tribute is going to be played next door at a place called the Bug Nutty Brewery. Bug Nutty.
All right. Right on. Whatever the hell that is.
All right. I guess all the other names were taken.
I won't even ask.
Yeah, I guess the other names were taken. But, guys, that is going to be a lot of fun if you can make it to the Space Coast on 2/22, the month after Alex's reunion. And there will be a second drawing for more prizes. But we'll talk about that next week. Let everybody catch up with their records. So there's gonna be
if
2
you're not
drawings.
registered, obviously make sure you register for the society because that's first and foremost. You have to be a member. Okay?
You have to be a member,
This
and then
is
if you're
what
going to the
keeps these guys
reunion,
going.
yeah, if you're going to reunion, get your RSVP now with the Canal Society, and then you'll be in for the draw. For actually 2 draws, but we'll talk about the second one next week. The first draw, room and board at the reunion. Actually, room. I don't know about board, but definitely room. All right, and then don't forget the meet and greet. So that's what's going on over there with Mr. Carl Orvis. And speaking of Carl was seen at last weekend at the Tampa luncheon. Mm-hmm. My bochincheros let me know that it was well attended.
I was supposed to go, but I ended up having to travel to Arizona, and then at the last minute they scrapped it, and I was like, oh, thanks. And so,
thanks, of course. But it was max capacity, so it would have been tough to get in there. They had I think 10, 12 tables completely packed. Kelly Morris was spotted there. David Kelleher, Georgia Teague, Laura Redfern. Happy birthday,
Nice.
Laura.
Yeah.
Kathleen Phillips, one of my favorites. But anyways, those guys were all there, as well as the older guys were there. Ralphie Furlong was also spotted
Yep.
there.
I saw that.
And Carl came out and told us about some savings that I want to pass on. Carl's doing a great job, This luncheon they're having in the Space Coast, they're having it at the VFW. And Carl, the second in command in that VFW. That VFW,
Oh, right on.
yeah, it's the post 10131 in Cape Canaveral.
Which post is it?
Because he's the second in command, he got the hall free of charge. So
What's the name of it, or what's the number?
The 10131. Post 10131. And that's where the luncheon's going to be, and the drawing for the early bird. So,
Nice.
guys, that's what we have going on for that. A little Canal Zone reunion in Panama. Little news from that. Two things. Remember, class of '85 is having a big reunion there.
Yeah.
As well as an important message from Alex. The normal party that they have, end of the EOY end of year party. I just learned that a couple of weeks ago.
Look at this guy.
At the yacht club. Unfortunately, has to be postponed, everybody. So if you're making plans, you're gonna have to change it. I think it was the 27th, anyways. Alex,
stay home and join us then instead.
Yeah, Alex he'll be stepping, I don't know, I think he's on a trip or something. But sorry about that news, but there won't be an end of year party with Shorty and Slim this year. And speaking of class reunions, guys, there's the 70th. I want to talk a little bit about that because Willie, we need to bring him in. Our show does very well when we bring in these class reunions in. I mean, the different classes for the reunion.
Yes, we need to bring that
so
back. You're right.
we're gonna start talking about those, even though July's a way off. But the class of '70 is having their 55th reunion, and they want you to join the WhatsApp group as well as their Facebook. Now, this is being run by Audrey Stewart Carlson. And that's class of '70, 55th. Make sure you guys out there listening, you either join Facebook or the WhatsApp group. Audrey Stewart Carlson. Class of '75 is having their 50th reunion. And that's with one of our favorite, Joni Rich McCoy and Joan Ann Stoons Taylor. Great Zonian girls right there. They have a Facebook page. So you guys, all you 75 graduates that are going to attend. Yeah, we'd love to have you guys on.
That would be a really cool class to have. They seem to have a lot of fun, that class, and they do a lot of things here. That's class of '75. You see a lot of
class of '75, right?
Yeah, they seem to be fairly active, so that'd be a cool class to have on.
Cool class to have on. And then the class of '80 is having their 45th, and Richard Grimason's running that. He also has a Facebook page for all you class of '80s. Make sure you reach out to Richard. He's always a great party organizer. And then last but not least, class of '90, who's having their 35th, we're getting old, their 35th reunion, and that's Yvonne Mauser is running that.
Oh, right on.
And yeah.
That's formerly Yvonne Fishbowl. That's who that is.
Yvonne Fishbowl. Well, normally they write their names there.
I always go with the Zonian names because a lot of us don't know that somebody's married name is so. But
yeah. That's her.
She's actually helping me out with some map stuff for that documentary to recreate the landscape prior to the excavation. So she's a maps, not a maps wizard. Really cool stuff she does. So. Yeah.
Right on. And little something on the record. Speaking of deadlines, January 6th is the deadline for everybody who wants to be on the March edition of the record. Whether it's your stories, your pictures, whatever you want to put on there, your ads. January 6th is that deadline for the March edition, 2025. And again, the membership are due on by 1/31/25.
Yep, there you go.
And that's what we got there. All right. Speaking of the record, I just want a little call out to all our reporters.
Yeah.
This, if you look at this last edition, they did a great job. From Northern Cal, Joni Rich McCoy again. She's everywhere. Out of Florida, we have several. The Central Coast, Debbie Beal Bandy, doing a great job in the Orlando area. Pensacola, our favorite Mrs. Barbara Vose. We love her daughter. Out of the Space Coast, Diana Grimison. These people all do phenomenal jobs. And the people that call them or they call whomever, they're doing great. That's why out of Tampa, Bliss Morris, also very good section on her. Out of the Midwest, Estella Hammond. All you Midwesterners get out there, get a hold of Estella. North Carolina always has a lot of good stories. Sheila Webb Tucker, she's doing a great job. And out of one of my favorites out of all the reporters out of the Southeast, David and Myra Seitz, they always have great stories. Totally worth it, guys, just to get the record and read all the story that these these reporters do for the record. So right on to all you reporters, thank you so much for the work you do. And then one of the things, Willie, that Carl spoke about, great president, because he's just bringing savings. One of the things they decided to do, Willie, I don't know if you noticed on the last record, is they're saving $10K. Every time they do a record issue, it's $10,000.
Right.
So the way they save $10K, and this is why the new record is like this, we used to get a separate record with everybody's addresses on it, one by itself. Right. Well, Carl and I'm sure their directors also, they came up with the idea to combine a regular record with like the A through like football, A through K, on one record, and then the following edition L through Z, with the next record, and Carl ended up saving them $10K. So right on, Mr. President.
Well,
we're behind you.
That's right.
Kick some butt there, Carl. We got 2 years of him. Good job, Carl. Good job. And then Willie, after. Yeah, one last story I wanted to take out of, because we love talking about when the Zonians get together and do great things. Now this one I got from the record, and it's the Isthmian Chuggers Zonian Dirt Riders. This is a group of Zonians above my age group, but a great group nonetheless. I'm surprised I haven't heard Jerry talk about it, but every year they have an annual trek to the Barber Vintage Motorcycle Festivals in Leeds, Alabama. One of the Zonians, old school Zonian that Jerry has mentioned, races on there. Ed Blunt, he's still racing, so all these Zonians go to watch him race, and it's like a street like the speed bikes.
Okay, cool.
So the day before the race, all these Zonians get together and they do a 4x4-wheel drive off-road trip in a place called Windrock, Tennessee. And these guys, bring all their Jeeps, and they mentioned the different and they all get together. Some of the names that go to this are Winship Dowell, Mark Collins, John DeDukes. We have a lot of French people in the zone. I wonder if that has to do with the canal, the French canal building it. But we do have a lot of French names in the Zonian community.
Now, what's interesting? Also, what I've noticed on the Atlantic side, there was a lot of them, but they're French names, but they're, like, for example, the Tivilliers.
Yes.
Their family comes from New Orleans and Louisiana, which obviously had a big French heritage. So that's where you're getting a lot of those as well. It's interesting.
Got it. Yeah, no, but almost all the time there's a French name.
Yeah.
There was Tom, Rod, and Jim Snyder. I know that Tom and Jim are brothers, but Rod, actually they got different last names, but they're all Snyders. One's S-Y, and the other one is S-I. Bill Kern also there. D. Laporta. He was there. I think his daughter's a big musician in the pop world.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mike Smith, Ed Blunt, who's the racer, Russell Gillespie, Tom Gabriel, and Tom Wilder. That's kind of the group. That's a good group of guys there. I know some of them, not all of them.
Yeah, that's cool.
But they're known as the Isthmian Chuggers, Zonian Dirt Riders.
How about that? All right.
I gotta let
Representing
Jerry know
the
about
zone.
that. I'm sure he does. I'm sure Jerry knows all about that.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, I wonder if Gary Klingon does another birthday boy from tonight. But and
Yeah,
then Chris
yeah.
Jeffries from Miami. Greetings. Good to see you, brother.
Oh, right on, Chris. Always good
Yes.
to say hi.
Absolutely.
And then speaking of more music, because we love to talk about our musicians from the Canal Zone and Panama.
Yeah.
Recently, I saw in the Rolling Stone magazine, they interviewed a Panamanian singer, young girl by the name of Sofia Valdez. She's a singer, very young, singer-songwriter, and she's doing phenomenal, guys. Look her up on YouTube, Sofia Valdez. And her music is combination like Shorty and Slim. She does Panamanian folk. And she also does jazz and pop alternative. So again, from Panama, another big musician coming out,
Okay.
interviewed on Rolling Stones magazines recently. Sofia Valdez. Right on, Sofia. I'm going to toast to you, girl.
Yeah,
Good luck
salute.
and hope you do very, very well.
Yeah, for sure. Right on. Say hello to a couple other people here. Yvonne chimed in, yes, when she was talking about, we mentioned her name with the map stuff. And her and Kevin Steele are working on for that class of 90 reunion. So make sure you, if you're in that class, make sure you get in touch with them. It is a little late, but it's still actually more than 30 days away. So you probably could still get a deal on flights and whatnot. So if you haven't yet, make sure you do that. Ralph is sending you a message here, Ricky. Golf February
Ralphie.
2nd through the 5th in Coronado. Yeah, that's another big golf tournament.
Yes.
That one is separate
Yes.
from the reunion, but that's a big tournament. That one has a
That's
big
the
turnout.
one, yes. Yeah, we talk about that one quite often. That's the one
Yeah.
that who's handling? God, I'm drawing a blank. Jerry's uncle. I have to go with that. Is
Theo Jerry.
He runs
The
that
Theo
one.
Jerry. It's the Theo the
It's
Jerry
Theo the
tournament.
Jerry. Yes, yes. Bishop. Oh, sorry, Mr. Bishop.
there
I
you go.
forgot your name. Sorry.
There you
I'm
go,
getting
there you go.
older. You know, I have these hiccups. All right, so
No,
that's what we
and Ralphie and I are golfing this Sunday here in Tampa, actually, with a bunch of Zonians at Saddlebrook.
Right on.
So we'll say hello.
Oh,
maybe
yo,
get
yes.
some
Find out
greetings.
about when that next tourney is.
Yep. And then Robert Joyce, class of 84. Saludos, amigo. Yeah, we're
Oh,
still
right
working
on,
on that
Robert.
Kiwani show. We're going to get it going here at some point there, Robert.
We're on there.
Don't fret. We're on it. So, but
Well,
anyway.
speaking of Robert Joyce from the Kiwanis, let's move into our Panama
That's a good
and
segue.
U.S. relations. You know, I always love talking about this. So some of the latest things that we got that bring our two countries together. One is very awesome. Our Panama's Attorney General was recognized by the U.S. State Department, and he was awarded for his stand on anti-corruption and transparency. So right on to Panama's Attorney General. We have a good one there, as well as a good president. Our president got us into Mercosur. We're now part of a trading bloc
Yeah.
of you know, some pretty big countries like Argentina and Brazil, the two big ones of Mercosur, and Paraguay, Uruguay, as well as Bolivia and Venezuela. So Panama now is part of that group, and I think it's going to be really beneficial.
Well, you
Not
know-
only
you know-
for the canal.
When you talk about that trade, and to your point, you know, everyone mentions the canal as the obvious thing that makes Panama a trading partner. But there's something else that Panama has. A lot of people don't realize that Panama is designated a free trade zone, and what that does is it reduces the amount of tariffs and stuff when it comes to importing, for example, from the U.S. They'll send it to Panama to the free trade zone there, and from there then they'll export it to these countries. And so it's a huge benefit for these countries to have Panama and their free trade zone as part of their membership. It's a
Correct.
it's a big deal that we know. We always look at the canal, and for obvious reasons, but that's another one that actually in today's world is probably more of a reason why they're doing that, because that gives them a huge advantage to trade with the U.S.
Yes, and it will help Cologne a lot.
Yeah, big time.
Another thing that Panama and the U.S. came together on is Panama signed on with NASA and the International Space Program to be part of this global cooperation for space exploration. Now you may ask yourself, what does Panama got to do with this? First
Yeah, the
we
Panama
have a
Space
couple-
Program.
No. Well, first, we have a couple of NASA. My cousin, who's now passed away, worked for NASA as a Panamanian, not an astronaut, but worked for NASA.
Okay.
But no, let me tell you, before you make fun of Panama, join this group. Like, what is
I know,
Panama
I should.
doing there? You guys got to remember something. Look, John Glenn and the whole crew that went to space, where do you think they trained before they went to the moon?
Yes, they sure
In
did.
Panama. That's
Jungle Warfare
correct. They
School.
trained in Panama.
They
They went
absolutely
there
did.
for survivalist lectures.
Yeah,
Which was
100%.
taught by the Kunas, by the way, those group, and they also tested all these new skills of survival. Because remember, you're surviving with nothing there, all right?
Right,
And they
correct.
learned those survival skills in the jungles of Panama. So before you make fun of Panama being part of the International Space Program, now you know. Panama sent the first 3 astronauts, trained them on how to survive. Boom,
go.
there you go. Right on the
Went for Panama.
Panama.
They weren't going to the moon, man. That's what it is.
They
Panama
weren't going
got
to
us
the moon. They're going to survive in the moon without what they learned in the
All
training.
right, Panama. Thank you for your contribution. Appreciate you. And right on.
Right on.
Off
So
to
now
space
we're
we
part.
go.
50 nations signed on to that agreement.
All right, we got another
think
friend from
Panama
the military
also-
joining us on
I
the
think
chat
Panama is
there.
also strategically located for telescopes and satellite and that kind of stuff.
Well, you know, one of the things that you want countries that are friendly, and actually, believe it or not, for launching, which Panama doesn't do, but not too far south and east in Guyana is where the French actually launch all their rockets. Yeah. And the reason for it is because as the Earth spins, the equator is where it spins the fastest. So it gives you that advantage when it comes to launching, which is one of the reasons why. So who knows? Maybe one day Panama will be. Elon Musk, you never know, man. Him and Mayor Mazzi or whatever will turn around and set up a launch pad in Panama. But
Miss Rachi, yes, Miss Rachi is our mayor, and he's very connected with Elon Musk. So hopefully he'll bring something great there. Yes,
wouldn't that be cool? But
Hey,
we'll
Willie,
say hello to a friend of ours here that's chiming in from Fort Clayton.
Right on. We love our militaries, especially Clayton.
77 to 80 in Clayton, right on. That was right when we were down there.
Oh, that's when I was there. Right on.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
We must have played football together.
I remember
Those
it
were my
with Uncle
football
many
years.
times. Yep, for sure. So hopefully the view that you see there behind us is reminiscent of what we had before. You worked at Ancon Hill. Right on, man. Excellent. Well, thank you for your service, first of all, and glad you tuned in. We do want to get some Fort Clayton guys on. We would love to have a show with you guys on and talk about your experiences, you know, getting stationed down there and the things that you did and whatnot.
If you worked in Ancon Hill, you must know Mayor Forsyth, Tom Forsyth, because he was there during those years. So let me know if you remember Mayor Tom Forsyth. Very, very great friend of my family. And who lives here close by?
Major.
Rain all the time, yeah. He was major, his rank.
mayor.
But he retired colonel.
Okay, you got right.
Hey, Willie, a little something. I don't know. Did you get a package from the museum, for the Canal Zone Museum?
Did I get a package from the Canal Zone Museum? No, I didn't, but you remind me I did get something else that I want to talk about.
Check it out if you got it, because we need to open that up.
A package from the Canal Zone? What are you talking about?
If not, no, you don't know. If you got it, received it?
What are you talking about? What am I missing here?
I think they sent you something, and they asked me to tell you to open it during our
From the Panama Canal Museum?
Yes.
And I received it today?
Perhaps. We haven't received it. Then we'll deal with it the next one when you get it. But don't open it.
Okay, I promise you I won't. Okay, fair enough. You made me nervous.
They want us to open it during our podcast.
Okay, cool. Okay, I'll check, but I got something else, which is I know it didn't come from the museum, and somebody was trying to pull a prank on me. They brought me a letter, and this is somebody that has tuned into our show. But I'm gonna put it up on the screen here, and show you this.
Oh, that's what it was. You weren't supposed to open that.
Okay, so nobody told me that.
You.
Okay,
really?
You see? Well, nobody told me I wasn't supposed to open anything, and you people, I'll tell you what, man. And
yes, we know you wrecked your car. You're gonna get a ticket for wrecking your car.
That is hilarious because I was reading this and I was showing it to my wife, and I was like, okay, some of this stuff is not adding up, but there's some details here that are very interesting. So I'm like, but
Well, show our viewers. You got a
okay,
Canal
so
Cop
so
ticket.
here's the letter here.
Late,
Okay,
late for wrecking.
so yeah, here I'll read the letter first, and this is like a handwritten letter, and it says, "Bill, keep
By
this
Bill
under
Kessler.
wraps." Okay, yeah,
Super
Bill
sweet.
Kessler. Okay, keep this under wraps. It's one of our own asshole kids again. Third party is upset, so file it with the others, please. And then it's signed Cooper. Okay.
That's Lewis Cooper. This is
Okay,
how
so
we
that-
got around this. This is information how cops got around, bro.
Okay.
That's a letter that they wrote to Bill Kessler to save your ass.
Ah, that is hilarious. And then, so here's the citation, Canal's
Yeah.
own police citation.
Late there, because Canalto police will catch you one way or another.
Yeah, they will. It's got my address in Los Rios, PCC. It's got date of birth. Look at that, age 18. Ah,
How about the
that is
car? Was it the car you
hilarious.
wrecked?
Yeah, the Ford Maverick Blue. That's right, Blue Thunder. And then Balboa Road in Pier 18. That's the best.
right.
And then passing on a curve. That's what I was charged with. Nature violation. Passing
Well,
on a curve.
You were talking about this accident online.
Yes,
The police
yes.
heard you. So they
That's
sent you
exactly
a
right.
ticket.
You guys are a trip, man. So here's the other violation, mind you. And granted, at this point, I'm okay to throw this out there. But other violation, reckless driving while under controlled substance. Balboa, 10, say, now since 10 a.m., that's where I knew there was something off because this happened at night. This is I
Happened
was
at
going
night?
out.
All right,
I was
my
on my
bad,
way
my
to
bad.
Dave Corrigan's house. Bert Mead, you were in the States on vacation. We were partying at your house. And we were going there, and I was like, oh, no. And then this happened. That is absolutely...
And
you guys
who
are
was the cop
freaking
that- who was the cop that
hilarious,
signed
man.
off on that?
It says Fred... Is it Watkins?
Yeah, Fred Watkins, old Gamboa boy. But Fred Watkins, I don't know if you remember this young lady, but Fred Watkins ended up marrying that beautiful Terry Hunt. Now, all you guys that are my age group remember who Terry Hunt
Okay.
is. That's one of the most beautiful.
right
She's a little
on.
older than me, but very, very beautiful. Fred Watkins
That
ended
is
up marrying her.
hilarious. Well
Oh, yeah,
done, though. Very well played.
Rewa Cooper wrote to Kessler again. So that
Yeah.
people know
So
how
this is now. Is this Yvonne Cooper's dad?
When you were the son of a policeman, these were the benefits. Read it again.
Yes. So, Bill, keep this under wraps. It's one of our own asshole kids again. Third party is upset, so file it with the others, please. Cooper. That is fabulous, man. This is
There,
absolutely I'm
that
gonna
is
frame
your
that
Canal Zone way right there.
shit. Yes, indeed. That is absolutely the Canal Zone way. Absolutely. Well played. And you know what's funny is I remember as a kid, because we lived on Amador Road, and sometimes, the stupid things that we do, we would take our skateboards and go up to the off-ramp of the bridge. And as cars were coming over from Howard and stuff, and they make that right there to go in and onto Amador Road, and that was kind of a downward slope, so we'd ride our skateboards down that, and all of a sudden we're going down in the skateboards, and here comes the Canal Zone police coming up the one way with the lights on, because obviously somebody called these stupid kids are out riding on the off-ramp. And they put us all in the car, and the cops, they take you home. They don't take you to jail, right? They're going to take you home, and they talk to your parents. And so if they go to the first kid, and they go to the second kid, and the last one, what about you? I'm like, my dad is Sergeant Benninghoff. They're like, oh, really? Yeah. All right. Get out. That was the end of that. And I remember sitting at home for dinner, man, and my dad let me stew the whole dinner. Didn't bring it up until the end, and when he asked me about my ride in the cop car. So, yes, that is the Canal Zone way. Well played,
That is
guys.
the Canal Zone way right there.
Well
the
played.
architect of this is our good friend Kenny Gall.
I knew it. I told that to Robin, man. I was like, and you know what? So next time to officially pull the prank 100%, you got to put it in the mail or send it to somebody else.
How'd you get it?
Mark Mirup gave it to me.
Oh, Mark Mirup. That's right.
Well,
that's
Mark
right.
Mirup is remember this, okay? Mark Mirup is married to Connie Nickisher. Connie Nickisher is Kenny's sister-in-law.
Yeah, their sister-in-law, right?
So, as the son of a Canal Zone police officer, I too have the investigative bug in me, and I followed the clues. But either way, I found it hilarious. I was like, I don't know who did this, but well played, man. Very, very well.
Kenny.
Especially the fact that they had
Kenny
the
Hall,
Canal
man, for
Zone
bringing that
paper.
one up.
Oh yeah, for sure. Salute on that one. That made
I would
my
frame
night
that
right
because
there.
that's an original
Yeah.
ticket. Canal
Yes,
Zone
it
police
is.
ticket.
It sure is. It sure is, man. That is awesome. Thank you, Kenny. Thank you so much. You made my night for sure, man. You absolutely made my night.
Yes,
that's
we
cool,
did.
man.
Oh yeah, let's go on to our birthdays. Because
Yeah, 'cause
again,
we got
have
quite
a
the- we got
list.
quite the selection.
Oh my God, we got to figure out. December were what? March. They were made in March, right?
They were made
So
like it's a
December
factory.
made in March.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah,
these
something
are
like
all-
yeah. Yeah, no, it
these
is.
must
You're,
be
you're right
all,
because
St.
It's,
Patrick babies.
correct. Yep.
What else happened in March? We don't have
St. Patty's Day. Hey, Jill. Yeah, that was awesome. That was a lot of fun. That was that was great. Good stuff.
Funny thing was that I also wrecked in the same exact spot.
That was insane, man. And I gotta remember that cop running for his life, man, because that car was just sideways flying towards him, man. I had no control of that car at that point. I'm like this looking, going, oh my God. And I knew I was gonna hit
so
this
many
guy.
cars wrecked there, man. That was
Yeah.
the spot everybody wrecked on. Oh yeah.
Well, they
so-
did. I mean, they changed the traffic light pattern to where it would be green and then it would start flashing. And that flashing was like, oh, cool. That means we're going to get a yellow light, not a red light. So haul ass.
Right,
That's what
correct.
we
The
did.
flashing is what messed it up. And
Yeah,
then when
because
you're
it made you
coming
go
around
faster.
and you step on it, and that's why you would swing out.
At least with the yellow, you're kind of afraid, okay, it's going to go red. I don't want to run the light. But if it's
Right,
flashing
right,
green, you're like, man, I can get through there on a yellow. And so you haul
Definitely gonna
ass.
step on it. Yes,
Yeah.
you're definitely.
So, bueno.
Vamos
Anyway,
para los happy birthdays.
we got quite the list, Papa. We got quite the list of birthdays.
List. Well, let's just go. Do we do a intro? I forget.
No, it's the other way around. Look at this guy,
Well, at
man.
the end, we do the
La
intro at the end.
vida.
Well, listen, I'm going to start with somebody very, very, very special. Big happy birthday to Robin Benninghoff, Willie's
Yes.
little sister.
No, that's not my little
Oh,
sister.
Willie's wife.
Este tipo está huevado, man.
Sherry is your
He
little
only
sister.
says hello, and you only say hello to Robin every
is
Friday when
your
we're doing show
wife,
prep anyway. But
Robin. She's like half freaking San Franciscan.
yeah, that's exactly it, man. Because she sits here when Ricky and I are doing show prep. She's always in the background anyway.
She
So
listens to our political debates
Yeah.
too. She's like, oh, these two. Bueno, pues the second one I want to really wish a happy birthday. She's been having a rough couple of weeks. Nancy Smith. Happy birthday, Nancy. I love you very much. And then we're going to continue from that. Oh, another one very important, straight to heaven. Our very, very good friend, Germán Peñalver. Happy
Yeah.
birthday, Germán. Sorry you're not with us, but I know you're with the Lord. Happy birthday, Germán. Good friend of mine. Ana Luis Seda. Happy birthday, young lady. Katie Beatty. Hope I said that right. Happy
Yep.
birthday. Paula Monaghan. That's a big
Monahan.
zone. Monahan. That's a big Zonian name. Colleen Grace. Gary, our very good friend Klingon, and a great motocrosser.
yes,
And he's like your sister. He's all over the place right now in his camper. His
he
wife.
is, man. Yeah. Him
your
and his
sister.
wife Tina. They're cruising around. It's
They're
very
cruising
cool.
around, right. Robert and Tammy Scott. I imagine they're twins, like my little brother.
Well, it's either one or I think they're married. Robert and Tammy Scott Redfern. So I'm not sure which is which, but so happy birthday to whichever one of you is the birthday person.
I get it. So they're the
Yeah.
Redfords, right on. Robert and
Yeah,
Tammy
yeah.
Scott Redfern. Okay. Sydney Corbet. Happy
Corbett,
birthday.
Sidney Corbett. That was a teacher. That was a
Oy,
VHS
I-
teacher.
I'm over here with the Frenchie Corbet.
I love it. Look at this guy being all sophisticated, right? Like a high class.
Like,
right.
we don't go to Target, we go to Target.
Target.
Karen, this has to be French también. Duguid. Duguid. The Guid?
Or Duguid, maybe? Duguid? Either way,
Happy
happy birthday to you.
Karen. We're sorry we're smashing your last name, but it is
Yeah.
a tough one. Happy birthday to
Listen,
you.
we're
and
sitting
gonna
at a
have-
bar, right?
we're
What do you
gonna
expect?
celebrate you twice.
Yeah, right?
Liz, oh my God, Saray Potts. Hope I said that right. Tracy Soto. I'll get that one right all day long. R. Keith Dillon. I love names that start with the initial. R.
Right.
Keith Dillon. Happy birthday, Mr. Dillon. That's the construction family. Jeannie Gramlich. Big Zonian name right there. My very, very, very good friend, Larry Shainlaber out of Los Rios.
Nice.
That boy stole the football out of my hands when the whistle blew. Took the ball and ran for a touchdown. Then they let him keep the touchdown. And we lost the game. Oh, Lee. Larry, right on. Happy birthday, my hermano. I always love telling that story. He hates it because he thinks it was legit. Tom Peckinbow. Hope I said that right, but that is one heck of a cool name. Dave Renault.
Atlantic Cider.
Renault with the 2 N's.
Yeah, he's out in your neck of the woods. He's out in California.
Oh, right on,
Yeah.
Renault. Well, look us up. Jim Nam.
Yep, he's still down in
Bonnie
Panama.
Davis Dolan. Happy birthday.
Yep, and we got another Dolan that's chiming in right now to say hello in the chat. Anyway, Susan Dolan Smith. Hi.
Oh,
hello, you and Elvin. Hello, guys. How are you? Good to see you.
She's a great friend of mine.
And then Dave Renault's sister,
lovely.
Sandra's on. Go Tigers. Yep, right on. Atlantic side.
And her husband, a great drummer. Three drummers out of the Canal Zone followed him. Myself, Walter Kelleher, and Javier Cedeño. We are from his tree of drumming. We just watched him and wanted to be him. And he's married to a lovely, lovely woman. Eddie Castleton, happy birthday, Eddie. Yeah. And I hope your son's still doing well in the NBA. Robert Flumock, happy birthday to you. Yep. And last but not least, the great Jason Gregg.
Yeah, right
I understand he was a heck of a football player. And a good friend. He's been always a good friend to me. I can't wait the day till I meet him. But he's very
there's
good
a crowd. Guy. There's a group on Facebook that most of them are class of 87. Okay, and a couple others, but Jason Gregg's in there, David Larkin, and then Dirk Bouzier, who's class of 85, I believe.
Look, another French one.
Bouzier. But those guys are brutal as far as just ripping on each other. It is mayhem. Those guys are not safe. If you post anything, they are. It's hilarious, man. Those guys are matapuerco, man. When it comes to just ripping on people, man.
Yeah,
it's funny. It's one of those that you're like, man, if you jump in there, just be ready because it gets bloody in that water, man.
Yes,
but all in fun.
But before we end, now first time I did this, I'm gonna do my 81s last. This is to my very special class of 81, all my beloved classmates. Luis Chirino, happy birthday to you. He was a Panamanian that went to our school. Diana Garcia, I think she was from Albrook, if not Clayton. Tom Rocky Gibson, very, very, very good friend, neighbor, awesome Sonian. Diane McGovern, a sweetheart of a Zonian girl, and Jimmy Reinhardt. Man, they used to be married, and they have birthdays together. Happy birthday to my very, very good friend, Jimmy Reinhardt. Love Jimmy Reinhardt. We grew up together. I mean, Jimmy Reinhardt and Mike Hewsome and I, we were hanging out since 2nd grade in St. Mary's. Until today, we still hang out. Well, right on, Jimmy. Happy birthday to you. And last but not least, out of my 81s, Miguel Rivera, out of Texas. He was out of Albrook as well. He was a great football player for the Albrook Jets and a good Sonian because his dad had two stays in the Canal Zone. So we had him 2 times in junior high school and then again in high school. So happy birthday, Miguel. Yes, love to say happy birthday to him. So that's it for today on our birthday segments. And that's
and there is, absolutely. There's one other birthday that if we're not sure of, in case you guys weren't familiar, let me go ahead and play this video of this birthday announcement, which hopefully you guys enjoy this.
Ladies and gentlemen, today is a day unlike any other day. A day when the universe itself seems to shine a little brighter, the birds sing a little sweeter, and people everywhere unknowingly bask in the glow of something truly extraordinary. Yes, today is a day that history marks as the pinnacle of humanity's collective achievement. A day when greatness was not just born, it exploded into existence. I mean, let's face it, people. Michelangelo had his Sistine Chapel, Shakespeare had his sonnets, and Beyonce has her Beehive. But none of them hold a candle to the cosmic masterpiece that some call arrogance. Some call it accuracy. Just look around. The weather is perfect. Coincidence? I think not. The world knows what's up. And sure, some might say I'm over the top or too much, but that's only because they're blinded by the sheer brilliance of my existence. You don't dim a star, people. You let it shine. And so here I stand in all my unmatched glory as we celebrate the most important event of our lives. What is it, you ask? It is the anniversary of a world-changing invention. The discovery of a new planet? Nope. It's better. It's my birthday. You're welcome.
So there you go. That was the only other one that we had to celebrate on Monday, December 9th. That was my birthday, and so we figured we'd play that wonderful video one more time. So, but nonetheless, yes, happy birthday to everybody. Those of you that we don't mention, of course, we don't mean to. Did you mention Luke Givens by any chance? He was last on the list.
Forgot Luke. The
Okay,
last
Luke
on the
Givens.
list.
I just saw him. He popped up on my feed earlier. So happy birthday, Luke.
Happy birthday, Luke. Good friend, and his brother too. His brother's a good friend as well.
Yeah, right on. So, and you know, it's funny because we're talking about the kazoos. Well, we used to have the happy birthday with the kazoos, but then Dave sent us the one with the Murga on it, which is certainly much more Panamanian. And yes, it is the best video ever. Absolutely, it's a wonderful occasion, and you know, one that everybody should celebrate. So,
Yeah,
but
and
yeah,
we do
for
love
sure.
our birthday segment. We really do.
So-
Happy birthday to all. Right on, Jill.
Yeah, but anyway, so moving right along, we're chugging along here. We're moving good on time. We're at minute 5. So a couple more chats. I wanted to throw this one up there real quick when we were talking about this whole Canal Zone police fiasco. Sheila typed something in the chat there. My mom and Mrs. Barnes parked their car on the boundary by the Tivoli, and my dad, Canal Zone police, told one of his police friends to give them a ticket while they were shopping at the Jewish stores across the boundary, and he was watching while they read the ticket. Hell yeah, Canal's own way. But they probably didn't have to pay for it, I'm sure. You know, that was a cool thing.
They just got
Now,
filed under that.
they
Under that
did,
special.
man. You know, it's just one of those. What are you gonna do? It's you know, part of the gig of living in the zone. Part of the benefits, I guess, to living in the zone.
I mean,
But,
you had to be really bad to do something to get a ticket in the Canal Zone.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's you really did, honestly, because most of the time they're like, hey, you know, just quit messing around. Though.
Chill out
Thank
already.
you, Jill.
You know,
Yeah,
what's
big
the
hugs and
rush?
Texas to you. Right back to you. Thank you so much. Absolutely. All right. Well, let's move right along. Keep things going here. We've got our Made in Panama segment is a little bit interesting. It's going to be a little bit on the short side tonight. But nonetheless, we're going to talk about something that. What's that?
But a good one though. Very good.
Yeah,
show.
absolutely. Something that a place that we were all familiar with, but we absolutely never wanted to be involved with. Okay, and it was it got given the nickname of the University of Crime in Spanish. Okay, Rich, what's up? Good to see you, man. Absolutely. Hola, ¿cómo estás? ¿Todo bien? But anyhow, let's find out what that is in our Made in Panama segment. So
Guapín Colón, hola Panamá, Chiriquí, Chorrera y Chitré. Si no hay un lugar que quiero volver, siempre será Panamá. Panameña, 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 vida mía, yo quiero que tú me lleves. El que parpadea pierde.
All right, so let's sit here and figure out some things about Panama, right? We learn a lot about the zone. We have our history shows with Dave Dahlstrom, our Canal Zone historian, right? Because we've got that new label for him. We've been told he is no longer the non-historian historian. He is now the Canal Zone historian. So we get a lot of cool things there, which, by the way, they've got a really cool history cruise in the works with Andrew Eftimitis and some of his boats with Sea Panama, and Dave is going down there to do some tours and some chats that are all maritime, based on some historical areas around the waterways and whatnot in the canal zone. So that's really exciting. I'm looking forward to that. I think I might help them out with some of the graphics on that. So that should be a lot of fun. I'm excited to see it. But nonetheless, when it comes to Panama, you know, and the canal zone, we've got our history coming from Dave, but we also like to look at some Panama history as well, because it was the country we grew up in. A lot of us do have a Panama connection as well as an American or a Zonian connection. And so we're learning a lot of different things about Panama. Today we're going to learn something that it's historical because it ended a few days ago, actually on the 10th of December, on Tuesday, which is Gary Klingen's birthday and company. But in 1996, on the 10th of December, there was somebody named Manuel Aviles, okay, that made the news on that day, or actually a little bit before that, a couple of days before that. Anybody want to try and take a wild guess? And I know we have a bit of a delay in the chat, about 7 or 8 seconds, so we'll kind of do a little bit of filler here, but try and guess who this guy is, or why he's important to that date of December 10th. Of 1996, but it's Manuel Aviles, and if you have an idea of it, throw it in the chat. But it's going to be interesting what we're talking about here, because it's not a place that I'm familiar with, thank God, but I know about it, like most of us did. We'll just leave it at that, right? You know, Ricky's dying to tell us, man, but no, we're gonna figure this one out here.
I never participated with any events in that place.
No, heck no, absolutely not. You know, but we were well aware of it. That's for sure. So Manuel Aviles, I'll go ahead and let the cat out of the bag here. Manuel Aviles is the last prisoner to leave Modelo prison, La Cárcel Modelo, in Panama City. Okay, because it got demolished in 1996. So, why did it get demolished in 1996? Well, I'm going to kind of backtrack here and not go from the beginning and lead my way up. We're going to start at the end there and then work our way backwards. So, on July 27th of 1996, there was a riot in the prison. Okay, and like a lot of riots and things that take place in the prisons, they usually don't end well. There's usually a lot of injuries and whatnot. Well, in this case, there was 2 deaths. Okay, and so what happened was the prison authorities, led by their director, a guy named Dicky Reynos, ordered punitive action, punishment for the prisoners for rioting and causing these deaths and whatever else. So they forced all the prisoners into the courtyard, stripped them naked, and proceeded to beat them senseless with batons. Well, unbeknownst to them, they were in a courtyard, and in the building across the street, they were filming it. And they put that film out to the entire press, and it was awful. It was just, I mean, they were severely beaten. It was as much abuse as you'll ever get, you know. And so that, of course, just created so much outrage that they ended up closing the prison and demolishing it. But it has a long history. Cárcel Modelo had been around quite a long time. The prison actually, construction for it began in 1921 during Belisario Porras, during his 3rd term as president, right? The 20s now, Panama was coming into its own, right? The canal had been open now for, 7, maybe going on 8 years. And so Panama had now been established. They'd gone through several presidencies and whatnot. They were starting to become their own country now. They were less dependent on the United States and their military to maintain order. They now had their police force and whatnot. And the next logical thing is then to develop your prison system. And so in 1921, they did put up or started construction of Modelo. It wasn't completed until 1925, which is interesting. It took 4 years to build it. But then again, I'm not sure how much construction abilities they had in Panama at the time, so I can imagine it probably took a while. Calle V and El Chorrillo, as we all know, the Chorrillo area was where it was at. Here's what's interesting, and this is actually not uncommon with prisons, and not just in Latin America, but we seem to see it a lot in Latin America as well. Maximum of 250 inmates, okay? They later expanded it to accommodate 450, so they added enough room for 200 more people. That number ballooned to over 1,500 eventually. I shouldn't laugh, but it's sad. But so I mean, you're talking 4 times the amount of people that should be there. So it got really bad. It says cells were initially designed to hold up to 4 prisoners, but this number often exceeded it. It wasn't unusual to see hammocks hanging inside the cells and even in the hallways, just because they had no more room for people to sleep. Okay. They had an area called the isolation dungeon, and that area was down on the bottom floor, and that was like no man's land. That was a bad place. It was small, according to this report here, small, damp, and lacked light. And here's the worst part about it. The absence of toilets. Think about that. The absence of toilets meant that the floor was perpetually flooded with excrement and urine. And the prisoners were forced to live and sleep there. So, I mean, talk about awful conditions, man.
Quite the awful, yeah.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that's. Yeah, I get it.
That's how they scare people from doing, committing crime.
I guess. I mean, there is a point there where you're absolutely right. You want to make prison something that when you get out, you're like, hell no, I'm not going back. Right.
I'm not going there. Right. And then during Operation Just Cause, there was a big, what do you call that? Rescue by the Delta Force.
Correct.
Correct. Because they had that was in there.
Yes, and
they went after and got him out. I saw
and
his story
prior to that, I remember I was working for Copa Airlines at the time. Back in '87, working in Tocumen, and one of the pilots that flew for Copa, really nice guy. I always got along really well with him. I got along with most of the pilots because I was always really into aviation, and my mom with her history at Copa. I mean, I'd jump on flights all the time, put myself on as extra crew, and jump in the cockpit and fly with them to to Jamaica or to Haiti or somewhere and come back. But anyway, one of their pilots, who was very much an anti-Noriega person, very much an activist, he got caught one day. He got pulled over, and they opened the trunk, and he had a bunch of guns and rifles in his car, a bunch. And he got in a lot of trouble for it. I remember going and visiting him one time. They weren't holding him at Modelo. They were holding him across the street in some other building there. It was almost like an old apartment or something. So he was unofficially being held. That's why he wasn't in the prison system, but they were holding him anyway because he was one of those non-friendly people to Noriega. So, but he never did get thrown into that prison, thank God. But it was interesting because under Noriega, that prison really got a lot of notoriety, where it became not just a prison that had really bad conditions. Now it became a place for political prisoners. Now it became a place to torture and to do a lot of those things. And actually it started with Torrijos. He was he had a lot of opposition against him as well. I mean, these guys were dictators. Let's not kid ourselves, right? So as many people as liked those guys, there was that many that didn't like that government, and so. Like in a lot of these places, you throw them in jail, right? We've done that here as well.
Definitely an infamous penitentiary.
It is. Absolutely.
Like I said, there's a movie out there about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like I said, they called it the University of Crime, and that nickname was given to it by the press in Panama because they said that people walked in there even for petty crimes, and when they walked out, they were hardened criminals. I mean, it just made it worse. These people walked out, and now they were just complete recluses, man, and really caused mayhem and whatnot. So, interesting what happened there. But
interesting, yeah. Gamboa's still around.
Yeah, no, it's true. But so and then Coiba. Remember, they closed Coiba. Coiba was a prison colony. That was an island there.
That was bad. You think Modelo was bad? Coiba was worse.
And similar, I guess, the mindset with Coiba was to Alcatraz up in your neck of the woods. That they just figured you're surrounded by water in an area that's dangerous and people aren't going to escape
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was Panama's history with the prison there. But then, like I said, once they saw this, and it's hard to believe that these people would just do that and not pay attention and realize somebody was filming the whole thing. But that's what it took. Had that not happened, that prison may still be open today and continue with all the abuses and everything. So so there you have it. But
there you have it. Good one.
That's
good.
That's
good little history.
Carcel Modelo and whatnot. Does anyone have Philip La Scala's recipe for empanadas? All right, guys, there you have it. We got a call out going out there. Philip Lascala's empanada recipe. We're going to find out. We're going to make it a mission, Frank, to track that one down for you. We'll get it. If you do, guys, reach out and let us know. Throw it in the chat here, although we're running out of time, but we'll bring it up again next week and see if we can't find that recipe, because now I'm going to be intrigued. What was unique about those empanadas, Frank, if you don't mind me asking? Now you got me curious. I like a good empanada.
It's got to be the dough or the stuffing. Well, it's one or the other.
Could be. You know what's one thing I find is here in the States, we try to make, obviously we don't like to fry everything anymore because we've kind of grown out of that now, but that's how we grew up. But listen, you put an empanada, you put that dough in the oven and you bake it, it's terrible. Those things are lousy. They puff up like that. It's just, no. Those things got to be fried.
Yeah, the empanadas have to have like a little crusty,
yes,
flaky,
absolutely.
substance
For
to it.
sure, man. Absolutely. Yeah, so you get them, you put that dough in there and it just inflates, man, because it cooks slowly. That's just got to get hit in the heat fast, cook it, seal it, and off you go. Done. I mean, the meat's already browned anyway, right? You don't put raw meat in an empanada, right? You brown the meat, you cook everything, and then you throw it in there. You seal it up, you throw it in the frying pan. You throw it in the oil, pull it out.
I know we have a viewer who's a cook, Michelle Streeter. Michelle, if you're out there listening, tell us how to do an empanada the right way, because she is one heck of a chef.
Yeah, if anybody has an idea for an empanada, let us know, because everybody loves empanadas, but not that many people know how to make them. Yes, you're right, Rich, an air fryer does work. That it does. And the cool thing about an air fryer nowadays, you can take that and just spray like the nonstick on it, and that works as oil. Throw it in there and let the air fryer do the trick after that. But, yeah, there's just something about, and again, it's probably not the best thing health-wise, but you got to have it fried in oil, man. It's just like an hojaldra, right? Hojaldra, you got to have that shit fried up, man. That shit's got to have that flavor to it. Yeah, fried empanadas are the best, like the Balboa Bowling. Yes, indeed, like the Balboa Bowling Alley, man. And those things were huge, man. They were monster empanadas, man, at the bowling alley.
And you had to have the Maggie ketchup. Without the Maggie ketchup, it's not the same.
Yeah,
it can't be any other.
That's another one. When you've left Panama and you haven't had Maggie ketchup, man, you when you first try it again, it's almost too sweet because you're not used to it anymore. But that is, I mean, you try that next to any ketchup up here, and wow, what a difference! It really they like their sugar in that ketchup, man. Yeah, yeah. So another Daniel's also saying air fryers are the air fryers really are. I mean, that is a great invention. You're right, because you almost do get that fried food feeling.
Daniel.
A little on the healthier side. So yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, but nonetheless. All right, so here we go, Frank. Frank says he was the chief cook at the CZ Pen, and people ordered it. Okay. All right, well, hopefully that recipe's out there somewhere. I know there was a book with Canals on recipes out somewhere one time. I forget where it was that somebody was selling it, but there's probably out there somewhere. There's got to be.
No, remember the review, the magazine review, which would come out like once. Okay, that's where they would put all those recipes. Because I still have a bunch of reviews.
You know what? Maybe they're on the Panama Canal Museum collection. They might have it available.
Correct.
We'll
look into that. That's something we can.
We
look
should,
into
because since apparently,
chat.
according to Ricky, the Panama Canal Museum sends out traffic tickets. So we should maybe talk to them about other shit too, right? So.
Oh, I don't know how I got those two confused, but it was.
I don't know. That's what threw me. That's why I was not at all onto what you were saying, because you're like the museum. And the thing about it was, I have been talking to John and Betsy about helping me out with tracking down some information for that documentary. So I thought it was maybe they. It's funny because yes, because remember you and I were talking about that a few weeks ago, and I found these 3 maps. They're topographical maps, and they were done in 1905. So they're of Panama before the canal was excavated. And they're great because the topographical map is the ones when you look down from the top, you see the concentric circles. And those basically what they're showing is a top-down view of the elevations, which is what I need to then be able to draw out the area. And these maps, they're absolutely amazing maps. There's 3 of them. But when you look in the Library of Congress, where I found them, they only have 2 of them digitized. They don't have the 3rd one. So I was looking everywhere. There's a guy on YouTube, a Panamanian who partners with the Library of Congress. He's got an amazing video on old maps of Panama. And I watched that video one time, and so I reached out to him, and we actually ended up connecting on Facebook and became friends. And I reached out to him. I said, hey, you know anybody in the Library of Congress that can help me find this last map? It's a collection of 3, and I'm missing one of them. he said, call this number and talk to these people. And so I did, and they were fantastic. They took down all my information. I got an email from them last week. They're like, hey, we tracked down the map. We found it. We put it in the queue to get it digitized. So it may take several weeks because there's a lot of stuff ahead of you. But we'll keep in touch and let you know when it's ready for you to pull up. So that was awesome. And that was... So I assumed when you said earlier tonight that, hey, did you get a package from the museum? Maybe they found that map and they were sending it to me. I had no idea this is where you were going with that. So... if that wasn't where you were going, that was good because it threw me off the trail.
Right. I had it next to another note, which I should have mentioned as well, is you guys, which Carl mentioned at the luncheon, is if you guys are out there that have been storing Canal Zone memorabilia for years and you don't want it anymore, give it to the Canal Zone Society or to the museum, and they'll store it for us for future generations.
Correct. Yes, the Panama Canal Museum collection. Check them out, guys. Those guys are awesome. They're helping preserve this entire Canal Zone legacy, especially like the books, the maps, pictures, you name it. They're doing a fantastic job. So, George Cunningham, Jorge. Yes. Whopping
and if
from
you want to volunteer,
Captain Andrew. Okay, look at this guy.
Right, yeah, right on, Jorge. If you want to volunteer and help out the categorizing and cataloging these artifacts, look up Paul Myers and his beautiful wife Patty.
Yes,
they are behind this.
Cool, awesome. Yeah, for sure. No, they really are, and they're helping out a lot. Get involved, guys. In fact, actually, Julie Smith posted today in the society page on Facebook because she's involved with the museum as well, and she said join the museum. It's $26 is the membership there, so join them, guys. They could certainly help. The funding would certainly help them out. But they've got an incredible collection. Go check it out. They have an annual luncheon. They participate big time at the reunion, so make sure you check them out there as well.
Their luncheon's in March, and that's where the second drawing is going to be taking place. But we'll talk about that next week.
Correct. And look, my sister just posted on her. Thank you, Sherry. czbrats.com/menus/recmenu.htm. Okay, cool. So there it is, guys. We'll repost it on here in the chat itself so that we can, you guys can copy and paste it. But there you go. Hopefully that recipe's there, Frank. Maybe we'll find it for you there. Yvonne just joined this week. That's cool. Very cool. It is really cool. They do a lot of great things for us, and it's quite a legacy we have, guys. And let's try and protect it as much as we can. And these guys are pros. They're museum curators, so they really not only collect this stuff, but they take care of it. They store it properly so that future generations can experience all the things that we grew up taking for granted. But nonetheless, that's going to be really cool. Next week. Interesting date next week, guys. Next week is December 20th. And we know from history, December 20th is something that's very impactful for all of us Zonians, right? It's the one time that our two beloved nations were clashing, right? It was the invasion. 1989, it's going to come, December 20th. I'm hoping to get Don Stock on, who wrote the book, I should have it top of me. I don't even have it in front of me. Sorry, Don. But hopefully we'll have him on to talk about that book. Some of you guys that were on earlier from Fort Clayton, if you guys were involved in Just Cause, we'd love to have you guys on. Reach out to us. We'd like to, of course, talk about it ahead of time so we can prep for it. But I think it's something that would be good to visit and really talk about it and see what all happened there. It was a sad time. I know. Who was it? Mrs. Helen lost her life. Mr. Dragseth, I think, also. Ricky Paul, Big Bird. Yep. Yeah, Big Bird. So it was a sad night for a lot of people, but it is nonetheless a big moment in our history as Zonians, one that you can't deny, like it or not. But I would like to talk about it, and if nothing else, at least honor those people. A lot of Panamanians lost their lives, and we got to remember that as well. A lot of innocent people were caught in the middle of that. Chorrillo, as we know back in the day, Chorrillo was if nothing else, it was a tinderbox. If you ended up having some kind of attack there and that stuff caught fire, where those fires went in those old buildings, man. And that ended up happening. I remember seeing footage the next day and a big, just entire rows of buildings gone, just burned down. And remember, in fact, Balboa Stadium became a refugee camp for quite a few weeks for a lot of these people. So it was an ugly time in our history, but nonetheless, it's one that we want to recognize and again honor those that are no longer with us. That were a big part of our lives. And yes, God bless Ricky Paul indeed. Big Bird was, and everybody else, of course. But that he was our friend. So he definitely was somebody that's special to us. BHS was closed for a month. Yeah, when we had the class of '89 before the reunion. They were talking about that. Remember, they shared some pictures of having a graduation and move it and change all those things. So
they didn't have finals. They didn't get final exams.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So some of them probably thought that was cool, I guess, in some ways. But it took away from your whole school experience. It was something different. But prom. I mean, your senior prom is a big deal. They unfortunately didn't get to have one. So. There was a lot of things that happened that day.
It was the class of '90 that really suffered because the '89 class had already graduated.
Correct. That's right. You're
class
right.
Of 90 who's having their reunion this year. So it'd be good to have those kids on. Those kids, listen to us.
Yeah.
It'd be good to have the 90s on and talk to them.
Yeah, so Yvonne's there with them, and she's on here now talking to us about it. So we definitely might be able to do that. So Yvonne, off the air, maybe tomorrow or Sunday we'll chat if you don't mind, and if you'd like to join us with a couple of friends, we'd like to talk about what was going on during that invasion, because we did have Zonians out there going to school and being down in that community. I wasn't there anymore, but I remember it vividly. I remember my dad coming and waking me up, and my mom was down in Costa Rica visiting family, and she said, I'm going to go to Panama for one day and then I'm going to leave. And my dad's like, please don't. My dad was kind of in the loop on a lot of that stuff prior, because my dad was with Canal Protection before we left. So when my dad decided, hey, it's time to go, it was a reason for it. And so several months later, obviously, we had the invasion. But he was telling my mom not to go, and next thing you know, he comes and wakes me up. He's like, turn the TV on. Panama's being invaded. And I'm like, what about Mom? He's like, I have no idea, because, of course, by then the phone lines are all tied up and everything. You can't get a hold of anybody. And we didn't hear from her until I think the next day. And somehow she managed to get to Howard Air Force Base and get on a plane to Charleston. And then finally work her way back to Tampa. But, it was very nerve-wracking not knowing what was going on, and just the footage we were seeing was kind of a mess. I know there was a big Zonian party going on in Cardenas when all the helicopters went flying over, and that's that's kind of where it all started from. And sadly enough, Ricky was him and Mark Merritt decided to go see what was going on, and see. And they got too close, unfortunately. It happened right in front of La Boca, right in front of Marine Traffic Control. Because you got to remember that the invasion in '89, that was only 5 or 6 years after the bombing in Beirut, right? Which was the first car bombing, or at least the first one that got notoriety, and so that became the thing, the car bombings. So anytime that you had any kind of a combat situation and a car's approaching at high speed, you think the worst, right? And so their job was to protect that building, because you didn't want to sabotage the canal. And so, unfortunately, it didn't work out so well. But nonetheless, guys, anybody, if you can, and again, the guys from the Fort Clayton and any other military bases, if you were involved in Just Cause and you're watching the show or hear about it, reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you and see if you might have an opportunity to jump on the show and tell us your story, what you did, what the plans were, for example, what you were told maybe a couple hours prior, and at what point were you sitting and going, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going into combat? Because, it seems like we've been in combat now for the last 30 years in this country, but, prior to '89, the Cold War was going on, but we really didn't have troops fighting everywhere, right? It was
Grenada, that was about it.
That was about it, exactly. And that was very small. It was a couple of days, and we took care of that, but we had those troops in Beirut and whatnot, but we weren't like in today's world. And so all of a sudden to have, oh my God, there's a war. I can imagine somebody in the Army in 1989, all of a sudden they're saying, hey, gear up, we're getting ready to go and invade. They're like, what? They didn't sign up for this. But
those guys are always ready, Willie.
I guess. I hopefully not. I mean, you don't want to be you want to be ready, but not be gung ho either. At the end of the day, but. nevertheless, that's what we're hoping to put together for you guys next week. So help us out with that. We're gonna hopefully throw something together really cool. And also stay tuned. Like I said, Ricky had a really great idea earlier today. He's like, hey man, how about a New Year's show? So we'll work on that the next couple of days and see if we can throw something together that we'll start putting out there. It might be fun. Most of us aren't at the age of going out to party anymore, so just hanging out with Zonians for New Year's, sharing stories and having a few drinks would be more enjoyable to me if anything. So, but that being said, we are pretty much on schedule here, doing well with our time. So we're gonna leave it there. But
on the beautiful Isthmus of Panama, you're viewing Armed Forces Television, SCN TV, channels 8 and 10. We wish you a good night and a good day.
there we go. There we are. We're back up on the screen. So anyhow, it is what it is. Let us know, guys, if you can help us out with some Operation Just Cause. Otherwise, though, as usual, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Looking forward to it. By the way, I've got to put up a video. I totally missed the boat here. I'm just gonna do this. I'm not gonna. I can't do this person wrong. So we're gonna come back in for just a moment, guys. I have a last minute thing. I'm gonna post this on here. Cassie Sprague and Panama Art. They're having a big sale right now, and I was trying to queue it up, and for some reason it can't come up, and I meant to do it. Earlier tonight we had an audio issue. Ricky and I spent about 40 minutes doing tech support trying to get our audio fixed, which is another reason why we're kind of impromptu on here. But nonetheless, PanamaArts.com, guys. Make sure you check them out. They've got Al Sprague and all his arts. Got some really cool stuff there to check out. In addition to the original paintings, of course, they have the replica paintings. They also have the tumblers, just a lot of great things that they have there. So make sure that you check those guys out at PanamaArts.com. Let me see if I've got that, if I can get that video to queue up here. There it is, Panama Arts.
Well, we had a good crowd tonight, Willie. A lot of people on the show. Appreciate that,
absolutely. It was a good one. Let me see if this thing comes up. And again, my apologies. See, it won't let me. I don't know. I got to do something about getting this stream fixed.
Go back to our old platform.
I'm thinking about it, honestly. But anyhow, we'll get it fixed. Thanks again, everybody. Love having you guys on here. No background music. Ricky, get us out of here, man. Give our close, man.
Guys, thanks for spending your Fridays with us. Again, we had a great crowd of people. The numbers look good. Appreciate everybody that showed up. And we're looking forward till next Friday. We will be here. Rain, snow, or what's the other one?
Rain or shine. That's it.
Rain or shine.
Sunshine,
we'll be here.
You name it, we're here.
Some more Canal Zone. Thank you.
Yeah, you too, Jill. Have a great weekend. Love you guys. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. We will talk to you guys next week. Cheers, everybody.